You're cutting an onion. Tears are running down your face. Your team just scored the winning goal. Tears again. Your grandma hands you an old photo. You cry again. 3 totally different moments, same liquid. Here's the thing, out of every species on this planet, you're the only one that does this. Elephants grieve. Chimps feel loss. None of them cry. There's a reason for that, and it goes back further than you'd think. Scientists break tears down into 3 types, each one with a completely different chemical makeup. Type 1, basal tears. You're making them right now, about 1 to 2 milliliters a day, coating your eyeball in a thin film, getting oxygen to cells that have no blood supply. Without them, your eyes would dry out in minutes. Type 2, reflex tears. Something gets in your eye floods to push it out. Smoke, dust, an onion, pure survival. Type 3, emotional tears. Sadness, joy, pride. Only in humans, across every culture on Earth. But before we get into why, there's one more type. It's medical. Picture this. You sit down for lunch, a sandwich, just a regular lunch. You start crying. Nothing's wrong with the food. You had a facial nerve injury at some point. It healed wrong, so now the nerve that's supposed to trigger your salivary glands fires your tear glands instead. Every single meal, every time. This is called Bogorad syndrome. Real crocodiles cry when they eat too, not because they feel bad. Their jaw muscles press against their tear ducts. Ancient people figured the crocodile was weeping over its prey. It wasn't. That's where crocodile tears comes from. Anyway, back to it. An onion packs sulfur compounds into its cells. Pest deterrent, bacteria killer. You slice through it. Thousands of cells burst open at once. An enzyme called alliinase hits those sulfur compounds and cranks out sulfenic acid. A second enzyme, lacrimatory factor synthase, turns that into a gas, syn-propanethiol S-oxide. The gas drifts up, reaches your eye, and dissolves in the moisture on your cornea and forms a mild acid right there. Your eye flushes it out. Cut the onion under water. The gas dissolves before it ever gets to you. Chill it first. Cold slows the enzyme down. No gas, no tears. Charles Darwin looked at emotional tears and called them useless. If tears were about survival, why cry at a movie? What threat is that protecting you from? Darwin was wrong. It took about 150 years to figure that out. In the 1980s, William Frey, a biochemist at the Minnesota University, collected emotional tears from people and put them next to reflex tears in a lab. The difference was clear. Emotional tears had elevated levels of prolactin, a hormone tied to bonding and nurturing. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, one of your body's main stress markers. Leucine enkephalin, a natural painkiller your brain makes, and 24% more protein than tears from cutting an onion. Frey's takeaway: when you cry, your body is literally flushing out stress hormones. You're not just feeling something, you're chemically offloading it. That's why people feel better after a good cry. The chemistry actually changed. While you hit subscribe and drop a like, we'll keep going. There's a second thing going on. Humans made it 300,000 years by working together. Groups shared food, held territory, raised kids side by side. For that to work, people needed a way to say they were struggling without having to say a word. Research shows when you see tears on someone's face, even in a photo, something in you immediately reads them as needing help. Your aggression drops, your empathy spikes. In December 2023, the Weizmann Institute of Science put out a study in PLOS Biology. They had men unknowingly sniff either women's emotional tears or plain saline. The men who got the actual tears showed 43.7% less aggression in competitive tests. Testosterone dropped. The tears had no detectable smell. The men had no idea they'd sniffed them. Tears carry a chemical signal that dials down aggression in whoever is around them. In a world where your biggest threat was another person, a signal that lowered someone's aggression toward you could be the difference between living and not. So why do we cry when we're happy? Your brain is wired to stay balanced. You watch your kid take their first steps. A song hits you at exactly the right moment. Your limbic system and amygdala go into overdrive. The signal is too big for the brain to handle cleanly, so it opens a release valve. Tears. Happy crying are almost never just happy. A parent watching their kid graduate is feeling proud, nostalgic. The actual ache of time moving forward all at once. Psychologists call it a dual valence response, two opposing emotions hitting at the same time. Tears are the pressure release. The leucine enkephalin that gets released in the process works like a painkiller in your system. Happy crying chemically turns up the joy. So back to the original question, why is it just us? Elephants stand next to their dead for days. Chimps show every sign of grief you'd expect. Dogs whimper. Gorillas go quiet. None of them produce emotional tears. The best explanation comes down to faces. Humans are one of the only primates with white sclera, the whites of your eyes. That makes where you're looking easy to track from across a room. We ended up with unusually expressive faces. A tear on your cheek is hard to fake and impossible to miss. A stranger clocks it in under a second. Baby crying works the same way. Human babies are helpless in a way most animals aren't. They can't walk, feed themselves, or fight off anything. In the ancient world, a crying baby drew in predators. The cry had to be strong enough to override the parent's urge to stay quiet, because quiet meant left behind, and left behind back then meant dead. Every time you cut an onion, your eye is clearing out a chemical irritant. Every time you cry at a movie, you're flushing stress hormones out of your body and telling everyone nearby you could use some help. Every time someone cries in front of you, their tears are literally lowering your aggression and pulling you toward them. This system is old, older than language, older than tools, wired into your face, your chemistry, your social brain over hundreds of thousands of years. Next time you cry or someone cries in front of you, that's evolution doing its thing in real time. And if you learned something, leave a like. Subscribe so you don't miss facts like these.